In this video, we're going to look at example number 2 in 7.6, sketching a function graph. Remember, our objective is we're going to be able to sketch the graph of a function when given a real-world situation. It says the situations describe actions that take place after school. Match each verbal description with its corresponding graph. All right, so here's two graphs, and one of them matches with the situation in letter A, the other one matches in the situation in letter B. So let's look at what it says. Situation A, we'll see which graph goes with this. It says you leave home. All right, so when we read this situation, we want to think about where's my increasing, decreasing, constant intervals here, okay? You leave home and ride your bike to the library. Notice the graphs, the output here, the units say distance from home. And then the input is time, like we usually say time is the input. So the distance from home, we want to think about that. Well, if you leave home and ride your bike to the library, what's going to happen to the distance from home? If you leave home and ride your bike somewhere else, then that's going to be an increasing interval. This is going to be, the first part is going to be increasing. Then it says where you stay for a while doing research on your science report. See that word stay? All right, after you leave home and go to the library, you're increasing your distance from home. But then if you stay at the library, then that's a constant interval. As time's passing, you're in the same spot. The distance isn't changing. Then it says, then you ride to your friend's house. If we're assuming that the friend's house is farther from your house. Well, if you ride then further to your friend's house, there's another increasing interval. All right, so if we were to sketch this graph, we'd have an increasing interval starting at the origin, because you're talking about the distance from home, and it says you leave home. So it's increasing, constant, and increasing. That matches this graph right here. Start at the origin. You're increasing because you leave the home and go to the library. Constant, this is where you're at the library staying for a while. And then you're increasing again here because it says then you ride to your friend's house. So this graph matches that. Which means that obviously this one has to match this picture right there, this graph, but let's prove it. Let's look at our intervals. Again, we're talking about the distance from home. It says you ride your bike home from soccer practice. Well, what's going to happen? What's the type of interval is going to happen if you ride your bike home from soccer practice? The distance from home is going to decrease because you're riding towards, it's going to be a decreasing interval because you're riding towards home. Then it says on the way you stop at a friend's house for a while. See that it says stop, which means it's going to be a constant interval. And then it says, and then you go straight home. Well, if you're going straight home, then the distance from home is going to decrease because you're going closer to home. So let's see here. Here, obviously we said it was going to match this graph, right? It's the only one left. Here's where you're riding your bike home. Let's say this is soccer practice. You're riding bike home from soccer practice. Then you stop at a friend's house. Here's where you're staying at your friend's house. As time is passing, the distance from home remains the same if you're at your friend's house. You're not moving anywhere. Then it says you go straight home, which is why we end right here on the x-axis, because you're all the way home. Okay, now that you have completed example number 2, you're going to try the got it number 2 and then watch the video to make sure that you got it correct.